This is VOA Africa.
Good evening, I'm Esther Guyuat. It's Monday, May 20th. This is Africa 54. The race to become Malawi's president tightens as Tuesday's election nears. Former South African President Jacob Zuma battles corruption charges in court. And football superstar Kylian Mbappe says he's reached a turning point in his career. We'll explain. Tuesday is election day in Malawi as voters head to the polls for local, parliamentary and presidential elections. 7 candidates are running for president, but the real battle appears to be between incumbent President Peter Mutharika, Vice President Saulos Chilima and main opposition leader Lazarus Chakwera. Lamek Masina has more election details from Blantyre.
Candidates are crisscrossing the country to woo voters in what many say is Malawi's most highly contested elections since the start of multi-party politics in 1993. The opposition Malawi Congress Party is determined to return to power after 25 years in opposition. Some in the party, including its presidential candidate Lazarus Chakwera, says nepotism is rampant in the current administration, a charge the government denies.
If there is a leader in Malawi at the moment who can unite the whole country to stop the tendency of nepotism, employing people based on ethnicity and regionalism, it's me, Chakwera.
The vice president, who leads the United Transformation Movement, or UTM party, says corruption forced him to break away from the ruling party. Multiple times, Saulos Chilima accused the governing party of planning to rig the polls. But now he says the voting is safe.
There is no one who will rig this election. Those who registered should go to vote, and you should vote for we UTM leaders for the country to develop. Vote wisely and without fear.
President Mutharika tells the voters he will continue developing the country if he wins his second 5-year term.
We have so far constructed 94 bridges in different areas. This has never happened in the country's history, but we are doing that. Therefore, we'll continue to do what we've been doing.
Political analysts are still unable to predict who will win Tuesday's vote. They say the outcome depends on rural areas where more than 80% of Malawians live.
You can see even the numbers who registered. They are not much convincing numbers like those in the villages.
Prospective voters have their own take on the polls.
I'm expecting for a leader who is going to put youth first.
If I want to make things change according to the current situation in Malawi, then I will vote for Chakwera.
It's Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika. Why is it that he's going to win? Because I've seen his manifesto from what he has talked about, and I've also, I know how he has been doing because he's already a president. He was the past president.
About 6.7 million Malawians are registered to vote in the polls. Results are expected by May 29. Lamek Masina for VOA News, Blantyre.
Belief in witchcraft is widespread across Malawi, fueling ritual killings, particularly targeting people with albinism because of the belief that their body parts can increase wealth. Rosen Salpe has albinism, a genetic condition where a lack of the melanin pigment makes hair and skin pale. As election day approaches, she is more concerned about her personal safety than with preparing to vote.
As we are getting very closer to the elections, it's a very, very, very bad time because it's the time when we are very much living in fear because we don't know what will happen in the next day because it's very unpredictable that who can be killed and who can kill you. So it's obvious that every day you are living in fear.
A United Nations expert says people with albinism in Malawi, estimated to number up to 10,000, risk extinction due to the violence. Now, for more insight into Malawi's election issues, I'm joined by Janet Zinat Karim, former diplomat with Malawi Permanent Mission to the United Nations. Janet, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, your reaction to the harassment that the people with albinism face in Malawi. You just saw this lady talking about it.
It's a very precarious situation, really, because where you have people that are just being killed on the basis of the color of their skin, if I may use that term, and people don't know where to run to seek safety, because even relatives, it has been reported, and are getting these, their relatives with albinism and selling, them to get the money, and it's because of the poverty.
But there has been a lot of people who are, whistleblowers, raising concerns about this issue. What has happened to those people? What is going on?
That is the concern also, because they have lost their lives. Several whistleblowers have lost their lives in police custody, which also maybe implicates the police. How is it that these people are dying in their hands? They should be, the police is supposed to be, police station is a place where maybe we'd be most protected. But 2 or 3 whistleblowers in the past year have, lost their lives in dubious situations, and then nothing has led to any, anything, any questioning or any further arrest as to why did these people die.
Now, looking at the statistics, I find that there are no women candidates for this presidential election, but there are more women who have registered to vote. And I'm just wondering, is this a pointer to a willingness for more women to participate in politics rather than just running for the presidency? Are there more women participating in politics in Malawi?
I'm glad you asked that question. Women, historically, have been the ones who turn out in large numbers to vote. In 1993, it was the women's vote that got the, yes, we want to have a multi-party dispensation. It was the women's vote that got the UDF into power in 1994. So women turn out in large numbers, more so than the men. But coming to the question of the presidential candidates and their running mates, it is a big and major disappointment to all women in Malawi that there isn't any woman in the top tier of the the election, the tripartite election. But if you look at the parliamentary elections, the polls, you've got 300 women, but then you've got 800 men.
Why is the discrepancy? Why
the discrepancy
is so huge?
I hate to say this, but men don't play by the rules when it comes to the parliamentary elections, and even at the political party, we try to get the political parties to accept that they should maybe even divide, but they never do that. They just look at, okay, who do they think will win the ticket in this particular constituency, and you find that the men outnumber the women by double digits.
Janet, what do you expect to see as the outcome of this election? We know that Mutharika is facing stiff competition from his former vice president, who accuses him of corruption. Corruption is a big issue. Economics in Malawi is a big issue. What do Malawians expect to see change?
I would expect that, because there are more women that have registered to vote, I would wish that the women of Malawi would vote for a woman, where there is a woman. But there's so many constituencies where there isn't even a woman. And, I only got to the parliamentary polls. The councillor polls is even more ridiculous. You've got 600 women, and you think that's something, reason to celebrate. You say, oh, yeah, there's 600 women, but against how many men? Over 2,000.
Janet, I think we'll have to leave it there and do a post-analysis after tomorrow's election. Thank you so much for coming on Africa 54. Janet Zinat Karim is a former diplomat with the Malawi Permanent Mission to the United Nations. 12 suspected Islamist militants are dead, killed in Cairo by Egyptian security forces, according to an Interior Ministry statement released Monday. This news comes one day after an explosion targeting a tourist bus injured at least 12 people. The device containing nails and pieces of metal detonated on the perimeter of the Grand Egyptian Museum near the bus, carrying 25 South African tourists from the Pyramids district. The Interior Ministry did not say whether the suspected militants were connected to Sunday's attack, but says its forces killed the suspects during raids on their hideouts on October 6th. Authorities believe the militant group Hassim was planning a series of attacks in the country to create an atmosphere of chaos. Ugandan police say at least 8 members of a local football team and some of their fans died and more are missing after a boat flipped over on Lake Albert in western Uganda. Authorities say so far 8 bodies have been recovered. Some local officials say the death toll is likely to be much higher. The boat was reported to be traveling between villages when the tragedy occurred. Police say an overcrowded boat and bad weather likely contributed to the accident. Sudan's ruling military council have restarted talks with an alliance of protest and opposition groups that is pushing for a civilian-led transition to democracy. More than 6 hours of Sunday overnight talks at the presidential palace in Khartoum failed to produce a breakthrough. More negotiations are to resume on Monday evening. The Transitional Military Council had suspended the talks late on Wednesday after 2 outbreaks of violence around protest sites in Khartoum. Demonstrations around the defense ministry have continued since the army ousted and arrested former President Omar al-Bashir on April 11th. Former South African President Jacob Zuma was in court Monday fighting to have corruption charges against him dismissed. The charges pertain to kickbacks Zuma allegedly received in connection with a European arms deal undertaken by South Africa in the 1990s. The charges include fraud, racketeering, corruption, and money laundering. Zuma was deputy president at the time the charges were dropped, but the charges were reinstated in 2016 when he was president. Zuma says the reinstatement of the charges are politically motivated and that the government appears to be seeking a permanent state of prosecution. The ruling African National Congress forced Zuma to step down from the presidency last year. His term in office was marred by scandals, allegations of corruption, and an economic slowdown. The U.S. State Department has released a statement strongly condemning last week's terror attacks in Niger, as well as recent attacks in Mali and Burkina Faso, which have taken the lives of security forces defending their nations. The statement offers its deepest condolences to the families and friends of those killed, while wishing a quick recovery to all who were wounded. The State Department says the attacks are a stark reminder why the U.S. remains resolute in its fight to defeat terrorism. We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54. Join the discussion on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our broadcast live on Facebook. Please watch and share our show with your friends. Also, check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, is football superstar Kylian Mbappe ready for a change?
Sully, host and senior editor of VOA's international call-in talk show, Straight Talk Africa.
Today we'll examine the tobacco industry.
We pretty much touch on anything that you can think of. Politics, health issues, human rights issues, you name it, we talk about it. The issues that we discuss are pertinent to most people on the African continent. A very, very rare and unique opportunity to interact with their leaders.
The lyrics could be French,
English,
Portuguese,
Bantu,
Arabic.
It is the beat.
The African beat that counts.
The beat does all the translations.
It cuts across all languages and gives us the understanding that this is the African beat.
It is so distinct
and adhesive.
It binds us together.
African Beat on the Voice of America. For more information, visit our website at www.voanews.com/AfricanBeat.
I'm Clara Frank, and here's what's trending. After 8 years and 73 episodes of twists and turns, the popular HBO series Game of Thrones ended Sunday. The show had a few shocks left. Hot takes from fans on social media ranged from mixed to outright exasperation to resignation. In the hours after it aired, early reactions from critics were mostly less harsh. This season has been one of the series' best, for HBO at least, with record-breaking ratings. Last week, they said, it averaged a colossal 43 million viewers per episode. Next up, the Netherlands won the 2019 Eurovision Song Contest in Tel Aviv, Israel, with Duncan Lawrence's piano ballad Arcade. Thanks to the fan vote, Lawrence secured his country's 5th win ever in the competition. Some 200 million people worldwide were believed to have watched the annual contest, with 26 nations battling in the grand finale of the 64th Eurovision. Lawrence was mobbed by music lovers upon his return home. And that's what's trending today.
U.S. officials this week are expected to brief lawmakers on what has led the Trump administration to strengthen America's military posture in the Middle East while evacuating non-essential personnel from diplomatic facilities in Iraq. VOA's Michael Bowman reports members of Congress of both parties are demanding the White House share information about perceived threats from Iran.
In word and deed, the Trump administration has been sounding the alarm over Iran and its proxies.
If American interests are attacked, we will most certainly respond in an appropriate fashion.
Lawmakers are demanding more information.
And I would urge the State Department and DOD to come down here and explain to us what's going on, because I have no idea what the threat stream is beyond what I read in the paper.
We need clarity, we need answers, and we need them now.
Asked if war with Iran is on the horizon, President Donald Trump would only say, some fear a repeat of the buildup to the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq.
We do not need another Iraq weapons of mass destruction moment that led us to one of the worst disastrous military engagements when there were no weapons of mass destruction to be found.
Words of advice from a former commander of U.S. forces in Iraq. America should seek to change Iran's behavior, not regime change in Iran.
The idea of invading, I think, is something that is certainly not seriously on the table. We should have learned by now, I think, especially after the Arab Spring, that the regime change aftermath is not always what we have hoped it would be.
For now, many Republicans are willing to give the administration the benefit of the doubt, given Iran's past actions.
I support what the administration is doing with regard to reinforcing our military capabilities in the region, and this is the reason. It sends a message to Iran that if you're going to try and do what you did in 2004 and 2005 and 2006, which is kill and wound thousands of our military members, that we're going to have the capability to make you pay.
It's very straightforward. If Iran attacks, there'll be a war. If Iran does not attack, there will not be a war.
Many Democrats, meanwhile, are reserving judgment.
I just want to confirm what the purpose of our pressure campaign is. Many of us feel that it's been ham-handed without a well-defined end game.
The American people deserve to know what's going on. If the President and Republicans in Congress are planning to take the United States to a conflict, even a war in the Middle East, the American people deserve to know that, and they deserve to know why.
Congressional leaders received classified briefings late last week. Briefings for rank-and-file lawmakers of both parties reportedly are being planned in the days to come. Michael Bowman, VOA News, Washington.
A long-term condition began robbing his skin of its color 15 years ago. Since then, the man recently named Tanzania's top male model has publicly embraced his condition. He says it makes him unique. VOA's Arash Arabasadi has more.
Mickey Deo is a typical 20-something. He plays basketball and skateboards like other young people in Tanzania. But he's quick to point out his visible difference.
Everyone have unique things. Like me, I have a skin, it is my unique.
Deo's skin began losing color 15 years ago. At first, he was ashamed, but over time, he embraced it.
You know, in Tanzania, there is no anyone like me. So when few people saw me, designers, they chose me because I'm the first one and I'm the only one.
He has a condition called vitiligo, which causes a loss of pigmentation. Model Winnie Harlow helped bring that condition to the mainstream and inspired Deo to push back on the stigma.
Other guys, they have eyes, blue eyes, you know, so we are different. So everyone is unique. So if you want to be like someone, you can't, because he's unique.
Fellow models say Deo breaks down the construct of conventional beauty.
He actually brought to the industry a different type of uniqueness, a different type of beauty, and which inspires a lot of people out there who don't think that they can make it to the fashion industry.
Deo works on both sides of the camera, but in front of it, he was recently named Tanzania's top male model at the prestigious Swahili Fashion Week in Central Africa. Arash Arabasadi, VOA News, Washington.
It's time for our Monday Sports Report, and joining us now is Sandy Shomari with great news from the football scene. Sunday.
Thanks, Esther. And over the weekend, PSG star Kylian Mbappe became the first footballer to win the French Championship's Best Player and Best Young Player award for the 2018-19 season. After the win, he left his club in doubt about his future after saying during the ceremony that he wants responsibilities, maybe at PSG or maybe elsewhere. The 20-year-old backed up his excellent 2018 World Cup run, where he scored 4 times as France won the trophy, and by netting 38 times for PSG this season. Mbappe is regularly linked with a potential move to Real Madrid since breaking through with Monaco's 2017 Ligue 1 title-winning team, but instead made the switch to PSG, initially on loan, and then for a whopping 180 million euros. And Manchester City's Belgian defender, Vincent Kompany, said on Sunday he will be leaving his team after helping his Premier League club to become the first to win a treble with the Premier League, Carabao Cup, and FA Cup during a historic 2018-19 campaign. The Man City captain announced the news in an open letter to fans on his Facebook page. Kompany moving on to the end of his contract. And after City crushed Watford 6-0 in the FA Cup final on Saturday to complete their precedented 3 winnings, Kompany said they are the best team in the world. And in the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals, the Toronto Raptors outlasted Milwaukee Bucks in a 118-112 double overtime victory at the Scotiabank Arena in Canada to move their best-of-7 series to only a 2-1 advantage over Milwaukee. Once again, Kawhi Leonard was the outstanding for Toronto as he led the Raptors with 36 points to go along with 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. The Raptors had plenty of help, though, as 4 other players, led by Pascal Siakam, a Cameroonian international, and his 25 points, also scored double figures in the win. On the western side, the Golden State Warriors pulled off another double-digit comeback Saturday night to pick up a 110-99 Game 3 victory over the Portland Trail Blazers at the Motor Center in Portland, Oregon. Stephen Curry again led all scorers with 36 points, but it was Draymond Green who was the key man to the Golden State's comeback, as he recorded another yet triple-double by scoring 20 points to go along with 13 rebounds and 12 assists to keep them in the game. Now, a sweep is around the corner if the Golden State get its way. And now let's talk tennis. Rafael Nadal claimed his 34th ATP Master 1000 title on Sunday evening, overcoming Novak Djokovic in a 6-0, 4-6, 6-1 victory in the Italian Open. Nadal got off to a flying start by shocking Djokovic in the opening set. It was the first time there has been a 6-0 set during a meeting between the two rivals. Nadal had won just 3 fewer of those matches before yesterday's victory, gaining 1,000 ranking points to strengthen his standing as the second best player on the planet. And Esther, that wraps our sports stories. Back over to you.
You're not going anywhere yet. Tell me a little more about Kylian Mbappe. I mean, because when France won the World Cup,
yes,
a lot of Africans said Africans won that World Cup. And that's when we saw this guy.
I know. This guy's young. He has proved to be strong. Not only that, as you say, he has taken his game to the next level, winning and netting 38 goals in that league. That's a huge thing for him. So everybody's wondering, is he going to stay or not? And he's leaving everybody in limbo by saying, you know what, I might stay and I might not stay. So maybe we can hear that thing that say, I'm taking my talents to another place. Remember who said that? LeBron James. When he left Cleveland. Oh, yeah. So we don't know what Mbappe is going to do. So but for sure, he's a very talented young man who has proved himself to be one of the best in France.
And with roots from Africa, right?
Exactly. That's what it is, roots from Africa. You know that.
Well, today you had so many, different kinds of sports, from soccer, tennis. I mean,
a lot is going on.
On the weekend.
On the weekend, a lot is happening.
We got to finish it there, Sunday. Thank you so much. All right. Be sure to join Sunday Shobari next Monday for another sports report right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a good evening.